Okay, let's actually get you started with creating your first model and pro animation inside of Blender. So we're gonna be creating a simple product, which I'm gonna be showing you right now, which let's say for example is gonna be this one. So get a rough idea from now on how this is gonna look so we can create it. So let's start off with deleting everything. So press A, X, delete, then go to front view. So how do you do this? You press the tilde key on your keyboard and you press front like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a cylinder. So Shift A, go to mesh and cylinder. I'm going to move it up and just scale it on the Z axis to get the overall shape. Then I'm going to go to edit mode, pressing tab. I'm going to add the loop cut here. And I'm going to select this face, scale it down. And we're also going to move it down like this. Then scale it down even more. Let's see how this looks again. Now what we could do is we could press E so we can create this part, and then what we would do is we could press E again, and with these faces selected we could just press Option S. But let's also add a loop cut first here and press Alt S. So Alt S like this. That's gonna inflate it. Let's decrease it a bit. Let's select this face and move it up. And let's actually create this blue section here. So the way we would do this is we'd add a loop cut here. And we just bevel it, then press E and S to create this cut. I'm also going to save the file. Now let's see what else we could add. So it's going to move up a bit, just like we have it here. Then it's gonna move up again, and it's gonna have these details, then the final bevel. So let's scale it down like this. Let's actually bevel this. See what we could do. Yeah, we should scale this down a bit. You can press E and S to do it just like that. So let's see, we have pretty much mapped it all out. We know you need to do this bottom part. I'm just gonna move it up like this, and export it down and scale it in like this. Then I'm gonna insert it again, move it up like this, insert it again, and move it up like that to be the final part. Now let's add subdivision, just like this. Go into the modifiers and adding subdivision. I'm gonna add a loop cut here. Gonna add a loop cut here. Gonna add a loop cut here. And also add a loop cut here and a loop cut here, loop cut here. Now you see it's already getting into shape. Add a loop cut here, add a loop cut here. I'm not gonna repeat myself. Now to fix this, just select the edge, just insert it like that. Now we go up and add again a loop cut here, a loop cut here, just to sharpen up how everything looks. Now, I won't be adding much here. I wouldn't be pushing it up because this is not very sharp. And what we should do is we should actually delete this face, select these, go to face and grid fill. So we have clean topology, right click, shade, auto smooth. Now I've created a bottle. Now let's actually go about the labels. So let's first unwrap this actually. So select these edges, go to U and mark as seam. Now go here, select these, U, mark seam, select this edge, hold Control to go here, go to U, mark this as seam. Now go select the object in object modes, press Ctrl A, rotation and scale, then select everything in edit modes, press U and unwrap. The second thing we need to do is we need to select these faces, press Shift D, then P, selection, separated by selection, and there it is. Now we're just gonna scale it a bit in object modes. Now for the labels, you're gonna do it in Canva. You could just get anything really. So you could select this. Yeah, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna just go to share and download, make it a PNG, just download it. Now go back to Blender with this part selected, go here to the materials, create a new material, go to the base color here, go to image texture, open, and open the image that we downloaded. Now go to the material preview. You see it's kind of mostly unwrapped, but we need to actually work on it. So go to the UV editing, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna select everything here, press RX90. Let's preview this so you can see how this looks. And we're gonna move it like that and just scale it to be something like this. I need to also now I need to scale it on the y-axis, so it fixes the stretching that's going on. And for the bottle itself, just gonna be a new material. Gonna make it, you're just gonna decrease the roughness. And for this, we're also gonna decrease the roughness and increase the metallic, or just leave it like that. That's gonna do. Now we could select, I want to make this part blue, so I'm just gonna select these and select this, select this, select this, select this, and just create a new material and just assign it, and we could make this blue. Now because of the subdivision service, you need to go here to advanced, make this keep concave, juncus, and concave, and add a loop cut here to push it down like that. What we could do is we could also make this top part black. So instead of selecting everything, we could just go mark this as seam and just like select one face, press L, create a new material, make it black, and just assign it to be something like this. That's gonna do. So go back to the layout. Let's actually start doing the animation and setting up for the final render. So for the animation, it's gonna be really simple. I'm also gonna merge this together. So I'm gonna select the label, I'm gonna select the object, just press Ctrl J. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a camera. Go to here to the camera, lock it, and move like this. And here, I'm gonna keyframe the camera, so go here and just select all of these. Go to frame 12 and push it like this. Insert the keyframes. It's gonna look something like this. You could make the interpolation mode Bezier. And for the object itself, we're gonna keyframe all of this, and we're gonna duplicate it and move it back to be somewhere here. Right click, insert keyframes, duplicate it again, right click, insert keyframes. Now at frame 15, we're gonna move this like here and rotate it. Insert the keyframes. Now you see how this is gonna look. Let's see which frame this was. It was frame 15. I can select this, move it on the y-axis, and rotate it. Right click and insert keyframes. So it's gonna look something like that. And you could go to frame 25 and just make it move a bit. Move and rotate a bit. Just so it's not completely stable. And for the camera, you could do the same thing. You could just move it in a bit. I'm also going to change the focal length. I was going to go something like this. You see it has this slow mode effect. And then at frame 40, with the camera selected, we're going to right click, insert keyframes to make everything as it is, and go to frame 50 and just move everything back like that. Right click, insert keyframes, so the camera moves back. I'm going to end this at frame 60. And for the objects, just go to I think it's going too long. So what you could do is you could just select these and move them. I could also move this to 40, somewhere here. We could end it at 55. So you see how good this looks. So at frame 40, let's see. Yeah, frame 45, we're gonna move everything to position. So we're gonna rotate this and move it to the back. Right click, insert keyframes, rotate, move it to the back. Right click, insert keyframes. So this is how it's gonna look. Need to actually fix when it starts. So I actually need to move these back a bit. Yeah, like that. See, it's a really simple looping effect. We could end it at frame 40. And we could also make the camera take a bit longer time. If you want to make it completely looping, then we could make it go to 40. There you go. And we could also just copy this keyframe and go to frame 40, delete it, and just copy the keyframe. Now it's completely looping. You see, there's no obvious cuts. Now let's actually set up the lighting. So go here to rendered and just add an area light, scale it, and move it to the top, and increase the power. Also make the cycles. And then Shift D this, move it like that, rotate it until it's facing the object, like this, and also increase the power. And we're gonna scale the light itself on the y-axis because we want to have multiple lights. So we're gonna have one going here, Shift D, have it one like this, Shift D and have one like that. And then what we could do is with the top light selected, actually I'm gonna decrease the power on this. Let's make it 250 instead. Then with this one, I'm just gonna duplicate it and I'm gonna rotate it to be behind the object, scale it, and increase the power. Just so we have this outline effect. I also want to decrease the power going on with these, so we can make each one 100. What we could also do is we could keyframe the lights itself. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keyframe this at 10. I'm just gonna keyframe this light, this light, this light, pretty much just keyframe the power on all of the lights. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to frame 0 or frame 1, and I'm gonna make this 0, right click, insert the keyframes, make this 0, right click, insert the keyframes. Do the same for all of the lights. just so it's gonna be completely black, and then the lights are gonna come out like that. And here at frame 30, I'm gonna keyframe the lights again, just so it's stable until frame 30. And then to frame 40, it's gonna go back to 0. So we're gonna select this, make this 0, right click, insert keyframes, select this, make this 0, insert keyframes, make this 0, insert keyframes, make this final one to be 0, insert keyframes. So this is how it's gonna look, and it's gonna be completely looping. Just like that. So how do you render this? Go here, make it GPU compute if you have one, noise threshold 0.35, max samples to be 500. Go to the output, see where you want to save it. Make it FFmpeg video. Go to the encoding, make this MPG video, and once you're happy with the animation, you could just render and render animation. Now, this is basic animation in Blender. If you actually want to completely master it using something called the graph editor, I've also created a video for it. I've left you the link in the description. Now, this video won't include the modeling, but it will include just pro animation to its finest, using something called the graph editor. And I used the same graph editor to make this exact animation. So see you inside of there.